So the truth is, it might not seem like Gen Zs are like into culture that much or preserving the culture that much, but the truth is they are. Like every aspect, our music, our fashion sense, like you see people going to revisit the past, like this spiral hairstyle that is raining now, like it was from the past. So like indirectly we're bringing things from the past and making it trendier. My dad was like my greatest inspiration for that. But funny enough, he never wanted me to study visual art.
Really?
He was an artist, but he never wanted me to study. He just used to make, he was very funny, so he used to make jokes. So you're going to be broke if you do that. On photography, focus on paintings, focus on digital art, but you rarely hear textile as like a form of art.
Welcome to your episode on Takeawayz podcast. It's an honor to have an amazing, multi-talented individual like yourself share her story, her journey, and hopefully her destination with us as well. And before we go into it, I want you to give us context as to who you are and what you're about.
Okay, my name is Eyimofe. I am a visual artist. I am a textile designer.
Yeah.
I am looking to do my master's in curating actually.
Okay.
Luckily for me, like I've been able to start practicing and like professionally, like I've started doing that already, but I'd still like to go back to school to do that academically, if that makes sense. I am also the gallery manager for Soto Galleries in Ikoyi. Yeah, so that's basically who I am and what I do. I went to University of Lagos. That's where I studied visual art.
Okay.
That's when the journey officially started.
But how did your interest in visual arts start? Where does that story come from?
Okay, so my dad was a visual artist.
Are you serious? See, most times you hear, I became a lawyer, I became a doctor, my dad was a doctor, my mom was a doctor, my mom was a lawyer, my dad was a lawyer, but
you don't hear this.
You don't hear this particular stories. Please go on.
Yeah, so I studied visual arts here. My dad was like my greatest inspiration for that. But funny enough, he never wanted me to study visual art.
Really?
He was an artist, but he never wanted me to study. He just used to make, he was very funny, so he used to make jokes. So you're going to be broke if you do that. But like, don't mind, like he was pretty okay, he was comfortable. But at that time, like people didn't appreciate art as much, as only very few of them like were able to make it in that field. So I was going to study law, but I didn't get in for law.
Okay.
My cutoff mark was, I had some missing points. Yeah. So at that point I already lost my dad, so he wasn't there to like make sure that I get in for law. But I waited a year, and then I was home, and it was time to apply again. And my friend and my mom, they were like, "But you're very good at this thing, like good at visual art, good at drawing. Why don't you like go in for visual arts?" And then I said, "Okay. I mean, it'd be nice to do what I like to do."
Yeah,
because I hate maths and I just don't want to stress. Yeah. So I eventually applied. I got in for. That was like
biggest influence.
Because I used to watch him paint. I used to hang out with him a lot in his studio. So that was where the love for art came, and like literally everybody in my house can draw.
He passed down that skill through the genes.
It was a natural thing.
That's brilliant. So how would you I know you did mention something. Your dad was an artist, visual artist. You took the visual artist, but he didn't want you to be a visual artist because of the, reality of his time at that time. Has that reality changed for visual artists?
It has grown. Like people have started warming up to art more, and we've started getting like our way into the international market.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll get into that more. I don't want to start the business
side of the art conversation.
That will probably be what everything will be about.
Oh no, because at the end of the day, we're trying to take away valuable lessons for us that can help and shape. So we'll come to the business side of art definitely. But how has it been for you in the textile space? Because I know that is something that you are doing actively and you are actually passionate about. Okay.
So for textile designs, I majored in textile designs in Unilag.
Yeah.
So during my IT, I went to that was what I focused on.
Yeah.
I went to learn how to do tie and dye, adire, batik and all of that. And originally I wanted to like learn print making, like Ankara and all of that.
Yeah.
Or, in Nigeria, you hardly find like a factory that is still functional. So I just started to go like to the local like route and then just learn. So I did that, and then I was like, I really, really enjoyed it. But something we're doing in secondary school, primary school, but like I got to learn it properly, and then I realized that I was actually making some small change from it. So yeah, that's how I started that. And then I just had, when I was going for my NYSC, I started doing tie and dye as a business. Yeah, so I started designing shirts, round necks, and then eventually sweatpants, and then people were really like feeling it. So when I got back from NYC, like I now started officially, and in 2022, I registered my business. 2021, 2022. I registered my business, and then I rearranged my page. I did a shoot for it. Like, so I took it really serious. I made sure my packaging was amazing, and then it was really good. Like, it was really, really good. So every year for my textile designs, I make sure I do something like that.
The business. Oh, so you say yearly goals where this year I want to be here, I've gotten here, next year I want to be here.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, even if I don't consciously plan for something, I always just end up, even if it's towards the end of the year or middle of the year, I always end up doing something. So either it's like a proper shoot or a proper rebranding, or last year I did a pop-up. That was like my first, like I organized it myself. Usually I'll just like be one of the vendors or something, but this one, like, I organized it for the first time myself, and it was like, so I'm glad I did it.
I'm glad you did, actually, because that's another step towards your growth. But so give us an idea of how that process organizing was, and what is the name of that brand you're talking about?
Okay. So first things first, my textile brand is Afrocentric Textiles. So that was like the original name, where I would just design fabrics and do stuff. But then I wanted young people to also be interested in tie and dye Adire. Like, how can we make this thing like never die? Like, how do I inculcate it into our urban way of dressing? So I decided to look for a cooler name for my brand. A cooler logo for my brand, and then still keep Afrocentric Textiles as well, because like I feel like that's the origin of everything. So my cool brand name is Santos by Afrocentric Textiles. It's quite long, but then I still like it. So I had to shorten it to SBAT. So people say SPAT, I don't know, but it's SBAT.
SBAT.
Yes, so that's Santos
by Afrocentric Textile.
I got the idea in March. So the year started. I always put myself under a little pressure. I'm like, okay, the year started. What are we doing this year? Like, what can I do? And somebody just spoke to me, and like, why don't you organize like a fashion show or just something? I'm not a fashion designer. I hate when people call me a fashion designer. I am a textile designer, but the only reason why I like dive into fashion design is because I have to like translate my fabrics to what people can relate with, like what people can buy, because not a lot of people will buy fabrics to sew for themselves. Who want finished products. That's why I have to do that. The person advised me to like just do a fashion show, like something for my brand, because I was worried. I'm like, what can I do next? And I got the idea, and like, okay, yes, I'll do a pop-up. I wanted it to just be my brand. So I spoke to my boss about using Soto Gallery for the pop-up. I mean, Soto, you can't, even if you have the money to rent our space at Soto, you might not still get it, because we're very picky. So when she told me yes,
you were very honored and delighted.
Fine.
Brilliant.
Yes. So I already had my venue, because that was obviously going to take the most money. I had my venue already. So I started thinking about a lot of things, and I'm like, first, what name do I want to give it? I didn't just want it to be like a Santos thing. Like, I wanted it to be something that I'd revisit every year and do. I was thinking about that on the side, and then eventually I'm like, okay, I mean, I have a few clients. Right. I am naturally not a very social person. For business, you have to throw some things away.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So I had to think about how to like make sure this thing was a success, because I don't want to be associated with anything that will not work. So I decided to reach out to a stronger brand. The brand that's stronger than mine. That's BOB Bespoke. And I spoke to them. They're twins. I spoke to them, and they were interested. They were happy. I mean, who would reject that? So they were happy.
Power of Soto's Gallery.
So they were happy, and then we started to plan. So we had a general cost. We split it into two. So it was meant to be like a partnership for this year's TFAF. That was the agreement. So for this year's TFAF, it's going to be me and you. Then other years I can decide to bring in other vendors or other designers or whatever. Yes, so that was how like we started the plan. We had to reach out to a lot of people. We did a lot of ads, a lot of publicity. And we had to work on our clothes individually because they focus on male wears and like footwears and all of that. And I focus on wears generally, but everything has to have tie-dye.
Okay. So tie-dye is a very integral piece of your
international piece. But like, I'm just a very keep for the culture person.
Kind of person. Okay, so speaking about culture now, how would you say young people are associating with culture in this day and age?
In general?
In general, yes.
Okay. So the truth is, it might not seem like Gen Zs are like into culture that much or preserving the culture that much, but the truth is they are. Like every aspect, our music, our fashion sense, like you see people going to revisit the past, like this spiral hairstyle that's raining now, like it was from the past. So like indirectly we're bringing things from the past and making it trendier. So I feel like we're doing a great job in preserving
our cultural identity, because I know you said what you are trying to do now is not just to build a fashion brand. Afrocentric is a reason. There's a reason behind Afrocentric, and because you want to make sure that your brand communicates that conversation of preserving our heritage and culture. So when you were learning, because you said you couldn't find a factory to associate with, and it's the unfortunate reality with the fashion industry in Nigeria where a lot have tried, a lot have failed. And because those platforms or businesses do not exist for other people to learn from, you have to go to the women in the streets, right?
Yeah.
How was that learning experience, and what was the best part of it for you?
It was actually very interesting. I had a couple of people from Unilab, my classmates as well.
Yeah.
So we're like a group of young students learning something. We had amazing teachers there. I mean, those are the people that actually know the job, if we're being honest. Like, other people will take their prints abroad and get it done. But these people can literally create these things that people take to China to make. So it was actually an amazing one. And in as much as I went there to learn textile design, like it will open up your mind to a lot of other things, business-wise. Like you're learning from the streets.
Sure, you are learning from the streets. You're learning from the streets, and I'm sure you're able to pick a lot of things from that.
I was able to pick a whole lot of things. How I saw these people, their journey, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to end here. I don't want to stop here. It's good enough that you have this skill, but how can you make it global? How can you make it international, right? And that's why I'm holding on to our culture, because that's the only way you can stand out in like other parts of the world. Yeah, so that's why I have my brand, Santos by Afrocentric Textile, and that's also why I created TFAF. Now, TFAF is textile as a form of art and fashion. So TFAF has a different reason, but all of them still like gears towards
tied together.
TFAF was originated because in the art space now, a lot of people focus on visual arts, focus on, let me be specific, they focus on photography, focus on paintings, focus on digital art, but you rarely hear textile as like a form of art.
Sure. In
the art space, like they push it to fashion. Right? Well, it's actually a form, like textile designers are actually artists because they're actually creating art, wearable art. So I see my pieces as wearable art. Yes. So like that was why I created TFAF. So it's inclusive of arts and fashion. You're seeing art and textiles as a form of art and a form of fashion.
Okay, so how would you describe the emotion that you want people to feel when they wear your brand?
I mean, first things first, I wouldn't say I overprice my outfits. I do not overprice my outfits, but I make sure I put some sort of value into it. So aside from you wearing and you like the prints, it's nice, yeah. But aside from that, like you know how much you got this piece. You know why you're getting this piece. Like you know how important this piece is. Like it was handmade, right? Like specifically for you. So I don't make my fabrics or my outfits down based on request, so you can make it like personalize it to it however you want it to.
Okay.
So like whenever they wear their piece, they should be able to brag about it. Oh, this was done like specifically for me. The print, blah blah blah. The color is what I like, right? I want people to see whatever they buy from me as a form of art.
Now I like that you are taking it. You're placing a premium, a value on what you're doing, because it's very easy for people to say, "Oh, I'm just a fashion designer." forgetting that how you see your product as a creator, as an owner, automatically in many ways rubs off on how your audience, your customers feels and perceive that item, because you seeing it as that's with you, because you see it as a form of art. Because up until, coming in contact with you, I have never actually considered textile as an art form. I've never ever given it the idea or the thoughts, but you have brought that consciousness to my mind. And a lot of people now listening and watching this are having that same mentality shift, because even taking it out of Nigeria, for example, when you look at the kente fabric in Ghana, it is the same way how those designs have meanings, they have interpretations. Those are artistic expressions put in form of textile. So now coming back to the art conversation, you are the manager of Soto's Gallery. How has that position helped you shape your vision for where you're going to as a, as a textile artist?
I'll start from into it makes sense. So as an artist, right, or keeping textile designs in one corner now,
yes,
right? So as an artist, like I was struggling to find my style. So let me explain properly so everybody understands. As a painter or a sculptor or whatever medium you choose to like express your art, you need to have an identity for you to move forward. So it's good enough that you can draw some. When people say, oh yeah, that's so, can you draw me? It's okay for you to know how to draw, but if you want to take it professionally, you want to be a commercial artist, you want to have international recognition, you need to be able to, people need to be able to identify your works without you being present. Right? So like, let's say we have like a piece of work now, something like this, like my paintings are like usually with stripes or lines. I want somebody in a country in Europe to be able to say, oh, this is Ideh's design.
That's how unique style.
That's what gives your paintings values. That's why you see people selling works for 10 million above, because they already have an identity. People know that it's just like a piece of like money, currency. So they know that your name is having value now, and people can identify your works wherever they go, so they can resell your works. Because people know how much your works are worth now. So my journey as a gallery manager or like in the art space started with my first job as a curator in Adeline Gallery. So I originally wanted to go straight up into curating. I just wanted to do that for a short period of time while I processed my master's in curating. So I didn't do that for a long period of time. I had to shift jobs. So I got an offer from Soto Gallery, but to be the gallery manager.
From curator to manager.
Well, I love Soto Gallery. Like first time I saw it, I was like, wow, okay, I don't mind working in this space, because I had another job offer in the gallery as well. But I wasn't very
keen on that one.
So I started off, it wasn't easy. I mean, taking a managerial role, you need to know what you're doing. So it took a while for me to adjust and then know exactly like what the founder of Soto Gallery wanted for her gallery. And eventually I started like doing better. And one thing I love about Soto Gallery is that it's like a team. Everybody is involved in everything. So whenever we have like exhibitions, even if you're not a curator, you're going to curate. So that's how I started learning how to like professionally curate, right? So like ever since I got there, it's been a year. Every show we've had, I've been actively involved in selections, curating, putting works up, cataloging and all of that. So like, I mean, it was a blessing for me. Like I'm grateful that I took that role, because like I've learned absolutely everything I could have probably gone to school to learn. Honestly, I'm going back up for the certificate, right? But everything, like you can boldly throw me somewhere and ask me to put up the show, and I'll do it in how many weeks, right? And I have like the best boss.
That's Miss Tolakari.
I love her so much. She's like, I'll say she's my mentor. Like everybody advises that you have a mentor. I see the reason why, and it's just a perfect example.
Mentor should be. Okay. So what is one impactful lesson that you have taken from her in your experience working with her?
Okay, my boss is extremely hardworking. She does 1,000 things at once, and she's good at every, right? So like we young people who do like one job, I'm tired. Like she's literally doing so much and like doing it perfectly well. So like you can't be lazy around such a person.
No, you
So
can't.
she has really taught me how to have like a good attitude to work.
And I'm sure that attitude to work that you are learning from her is giving you motivation to continue your project with your own brand.
Honestly speaking, ever since I started working at Soto, like my mindset, everything has changed. Like how I want to see my brand. My boss is literally always encouraging me, always pushing me to do like bigger things, greater things. My mindset has really changed. Like I mean, I haven't gotten my certificate yet to be as a curator, but like I'm curating a visual art fair right now.
Yes. Okay. So now coming to the emerging artists, right? Because you did mention something about the women you learned from.
Yeah.
You know, do you think there's a reason why certain people excel in their space, they grow, they thrive, and another reason why certain people just stay stagnant or stagnate?
Yeah, I mean, so like I was saying earlier, is a sad reality, right? And I think we are able to see these things so we know how we want our life to go. I always say this thing, like there's nothing wrong with you just wanting like a regular life. Like people just want to, some people want to go to school, graduate, get a job, get married, have children, be happy. Some of us just want so much from like our lives, right? I was saying earlier, me learning in a certain space, right? These people have been doing this thing for years. They've been doing Art for years. They are great at it, right? But there's no increase, like there's no next level. That's why people that have like some sort of like vision, right, would come and give these other people like a lot to do, take it back and rebrand and make it seem like my outfit is 1 million naira. You're buying, people are buying, right? But the people that are originally doing these designs for them, like, don't even get appreciated.
They don't.
So like, I just feel like that's how life is. I mean, it's a choice. Decide if you want to grow your brand or if you're comfortable with like
where you are,
bare minimum, right? Or I mean, like, I think it's just a personal, I was going to say something, but I just honestly feel like it's a personal thing. Like, it depends on what you want for your life when you see it. Because there are people that don't even have as much skills, but they just, based on the little knowledge they have. Like,
and they're everywhere. And then you with all this skill, you are just there.
And push and right. And people that know how to do this thing genuinely, like, it's just where the artists.
Okay. So for artists, both visual artists and textile artists like yourself, because now I'm sure somebody's going to be referring to themselves as a textile artist because of you. You open their minds to something that they didn't even think about. What would you advise to, like, what would be your advice as to how they can stand out based on your experience, as a curator, as the manager of a gallery? How would you advise they stand out in their space?
Okay, honestly speaking, it's not easy. Like I said earlier, why I started considering the business aspect of art, that's curating, artist management. Why I started considering that was because it was a bit challenging for me to find my style as a painter. So I paint. Occasionally, I like wall art, like just something nice, no figures, just background paintings. Right. So it was very hard for me to find my style. So I can relate to a lot of artists that are still struggling. But what I'll say is, over time, you find what you're meant to do, either as an artist or maybe something related to art. It doesn't have to be a producer of art. Most people don't know that there are other careers in the art world aside from being an artist. But what I'll say is, like, I speak to a lot of artists and like you realize a lot of things. Like, aside from the fact that they're talented, they're not patient, they just want to make money, which is good. I love to make money as well. But like, there are a lot of things that come into play. For you to be a successful artist, like, you have to go through some things. Time like defines everything, right? And aside from that, you also need to present yourself as an artist, like as a proper artist. Like, so you've fine-tuned your art, you've presented, like, if you present your art in a nice manner, I don't think anybody will like talk down on your work or abuse or whatever, right? So like, you knowing how to present your work, present yourself as an artist, not someone that's just desperate to sell works. Like, people take advantage when they see that you just want to sell, right?
True.
There's no value to your work. So when they know you're broke, they can easily price one of your pieces for 50k. And because you want money so bad, you sell it, something that should have probably been valued for $1 million plus. So it just starts with like you presenting yourself. And I always tell people this thing, like, I watched my dad as an artist, so I learned a lot of things, right? As an artist, you can't sell every day. There's not food, there's not even clothes. You don't sell clothes every day.
It's not FMCG.
So like, you just need to find, as an artist, focus on your craft. Is a good advice. But for I don't want to say struggling artist, for an emerging artist, for someone that hasn't like had a big breakthrough yet, you need to have a backup plan. You need to have something that also fetches you money, so you're not so desperate to sell your works. So when people approach you, you have the upper hand in bargaining.
True.
So you don't just sell your works
Less than the shoe.
So you need, first things first, you need to package yourself properly, package your work, meeting up your works, frame your works, present it nicely. You also need to have a backup plan. So you don't so you're not solely focused on money. You need to apply for a lot of residency programs. You need to visit galleries. So you see how professionals in that field have been able to present their works and names to excel. I feel like you just interacting, like being active in the art space, just help you faster.
I agree with you. And putting yourself in that world opens these opportunities in that world.
Art is a very art's like a very tight-knitted space. Like even if you have the one, I tell people this thing, like, because they're like, oh, how can I like become a collector? How can I get into the art space? You can become a collector, right? That's not hard.
Yeah.
But like you being in the art space, like be able to say you're in the art space, you're getting all the info, your money won't even get you there. So you have to have like a genuine love and interest in art.
So now when it comes to the support you had on your journey, because I know you did mention your dad, and I know that wherever he's always going to be looking over you, watching over you and guiding you, how were you able to, build yourself up even in his absence? Were those people that helped you stay true to your journey?
Okay, my mom is amazing. I don't know what I'll do without her. Even my old age, like, she still like takes care of me. Like, she's very supportive. If you need something, she waits to the market and search for it for you. She has been like a very wonderful support system for the family as well. Before I started working, it was a bit of a struggle. I'm very good at doing things by myself. Like, I don't like to collaborate. It's a bad thing, right? But like, I don't like to I like to do things myself. I don't need to look for a friend. Well, let's go and do this. I can do it myself, right? But like eventually working in like a professional setting, not really realize the essence of partnering with people, like collaborating and all. In as much as like my own powerhouse, I still have like people around that inspire me.
And now we come to the business side of the conversation. What are those things that an artist needs to consider in the business aspect that you can advise and give, some input on to help shape their journey and their,
Yeah, okay. So like I said earlier, first things first, do not be greedy as an artist. Like, you can't appear desperate, because collectors, art dealers, they will take advantage of things, right? What I'll say is, when you are approached by a gallery, or when you approach a gallery to say, oh, I don't even want to use this word because a lot of artists are funny. Like, everything takes time.
Okay.
The new generation artists do not understand that at all. And I don't blame them, because now everything is so easy. Like, there's social media. If you post your painting, somebody abroad can see it and like it and buy it. I respect the older artists more, because they understand the value of time in everything. Even in my journey, like, time has played like a very huge role, and they realize that it's better to go through that process than be half-baked.
True.
Right? So I see a lot of artists that they had like their breakthrough year. Maybe in their journey, the first year was amazing, and they started selling their works for $5,000 plus. They are seeing everybody putting dollars. Look at their work, right? And then people, like collectors, first things first, like, they like your work, is new, it's fresh, they buy. After that, people will get tired. Like, you're not the only, there are thousands of artists only in Nigeria here,
Sure.
right? So you can't be the prime artist, like, do you understand?
You can't have a monopoly.
Do you understand? So like, most artists don't give that time. Like, they don't want to grow, they just want to start art today and start making millions today. But if you go through the process of time and you allow yourself create a name for yourself, as your name grows and has value, do you understand? So like, most of them are not patient enough, like, to.
Okay. I like how you have been very consistent with having patience.
Yeah,
I think it's a thing in the art community, because we also had a guest on the show, actually, also in the art community, and she was very emphatic on having patience, because the art space is not like, let's say, the music industry, where you can drop one hit song today, 1 million streams, 2 million streams, 1 billion streams. Art is more intentional, because it's not just an expression of creativity. There's so much emotion that goes into it. I believe it's really one of the greatest expressions of creativity. And when it comes to, how you have been able to, because you literally split between two worlds. You are in the arts on one hand, you are in textile on the other hand, So how do you merge both of them seamlessly? Because throughout this conversation, you've easily gone between art and fashion and art and fashion, and then you're mixing it through TFAF. So has that ever posed a challenge for you, or has it always been that seamless?
It's never been a challenge for me because I see textile as a right. Like I said, I'm not a fashion designer.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have been a bit more difficult for a fashion designer to link. Although I feel like it's still like a form of art. You still need to have like some sort of creativity to be able to like excel in that field. But I see what I do as art, just a different medium of art.
Okay. That's good. I'm sure there's somebody somewhere who is definitely going to learn from your experience. And if you wanted to give one piece of advice personally from your own person to a young lady out there, because why not? You're also a lady yourself who is looking at you right now, wondering how she's going to one day be like you. Yeah, what would that advice be to that person based on your cumulative experience?
Based on my experience, I would say trust the process. Like there's no mistake. I'm a Christian, right? So everything I do has to be related to God, right? And there's a plan for everybody.
Yeah.
Once you're patient enough, like I'm not a patient person, and I keep screaming patience. I had to learn how to be patient. Because whenever I try to do something on my own, like when I know it's not even time for it, it doesn't work out, no matter how much I try. But like whenever I move according to like God's plans for my life, like you need to be able to be patient enough to actually listen and see things that are clearly in front of you.
True.
Right? So if I wanted to do a pop-up, let me say 3 years ago, it wouldn't have been like up to the standard of what I did last year.
True.
100%. I'm very sure of that. I feel like every point in which you are currently, like whatever point you are now is for a reason. There's something to learn. And I feel like everything that's like whatever skill I have now is not just today I learned it, like over the years. Maybe when I was learning Adire in the place where I went to do IT, when I came back, when I started my business, when I got my first job, everything has like built up to who I am today. And like today is still going to build up to who I'll be
tomorrow.
Exactly. You just need to be patient and you need to listen. Try. Like I'd rather you try every day than just sit down and say, I'm waiting for God.
True.
Nobody asked you to do that, but like you just need to try and then just experiment. As a creative, you always have to keep trying new things until you finally find what works
for you. Okay. So should we be expecting anything towards end of this year from your brand or to you?
Yeah, like I said, so this year has just started and it's been super busy. But I am planning on 1 or 2 pop-ups, like one featured pop-up and one created by myself.
Okay. So if you want to attend those pop-up or follow your journey on socials, how do we find you on social media?
Well, my social media handle is very long, so
we'll write it down. Pretty on screen.
Santos by Afrocentric Textiles on Instagram. That's where I am for that.
Okay, cool. So what inspired that name Santos though?
Yeah, very safe. It's actually very simple. I'm Catholic, right?
Oh, really? Same as me.
Santos means saint.
Okay.
And I was watching a movie one day like that on my globe. I don't know if anybody has seen that.
Okay.
And we kept on mentioning Santos. So that was the period where I was looking for. So like I said, everything happens
for a reason.
You're watching something because you are supposed to be watching that thing at that point in time. So that's where I got like Santos from, and then he also helped me create my logo. My logo is an angel.
Okay.
And eventually I'm going to have another brand that's going to have it tied to a name called Crowning Angel. So like everything like I've ever done is always like intertwined. Anyways, for my future plans, you won't ask me, I'll tell you.
No, definitely we're coming to that. No, take the jump, take it, go on.
Yes, so I will go to study curating as a professional. I want to be addressed as a professional
curator,
not just someone that stumbled on it. So I'm hoping to do my master's in curating. I'm very certain about it. I'm going to have a skill acquisition center where people can learn how to like make adire, everything that has to do with hand skills. I'm going to have that because I currently do that, but not in a very large scale. So I'd like to have a center for that.
So you're passionate about helping the community. I like that because it's not just about grow, It's about also bringing those that are coming behind up as well, because the industry is still very, 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 will I say, opportunity filled. Because as you said, during the previous generation, it wasn't as easy. Now it's a little easier, even though not as easy as we might want it to be. And the opportunities are literally endless. There are multiple art forms, as you described, where artists can decide to branch into. There are multiple, they are not aware of it. So if you were to give me an advice, if I were to step into the art space, for example, what are the different art forms or sections of the industry that can advise me to tap into that are either emerging as an artist? As an artist, yeah.
Well, I mean, you need to have an interest first. I can't tell you to go and start painting if you can't paint,
Of course.
right? But then we have graphics designs, we have paintings, we have sculpture, we have ceramics, we have textile designs. Just we have like undiscovered. I think people can just sit down and train something
And dominate that niche. The possibilities are endless with arts, as you have clearly pointed out. So before we come to the end of your set, because you have really been inside, so I have learned a lot from you, not just your resilience, not just your ability to seamlessly merge two things into one and make it look so beautiful. What would be your parting words for this episode of Takeawayz podcast?
Okay, so I'm talking to like two different people. First, I talk to people in power. When I say in power, I don't mean politics now. I feel like people that have the ability to influence others, right? I feel like you should take education serious. Not necessarily like the formal education of, I'm saying informal education. So however you feel you can pass down something that you know how to do well, I feel like we should take that very serious, because the coming generation, I think that they are learning really fast. Like they know more than we do, if I'm being honest.
Sure.
I just feel like whatever we learn, pass it down before it's too late. Because when I was in school, Unilag, I didn't even know there was like anything called curate. What they literally teach you is how to be an artist, or you're not drawing well, or you're not going to do great, that kind of thing. But like they don't open up
Your mind.
those minds to how like you can make money off what you're doing, because they themselves probably were not like privileged to make. Most of them don't even exhibit or have never exhibited before. So I just feel we professionals need to like visit schools and all of these places to educate them and see all the aspects of what they can do and achieve. Yep.
Well, Mofet, it has been really awesome speaking to you, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation yourself. We're really, really delighted to have had you on set. I know that you've literally only just begun, because you are still very young in the space. How many years have you been in the creating art space?
I got my job. I started working at Soto in 2020, December 2022. So it's literally a year plus.
And you have done all of these amazing things. Yeah, shout out to your boss, Mr. Lakerele. She's really, really amazing, and her job with Soto's Gallery, or her vision with Soto's Gallery, is really, really helping more people that she can actually imagine, because artists need a voice, and they are finding their voice through platforms like Soto and through people like you and her as well. So thank you for coming on. Really glad to have you. I hope your journey goes as smooth as it is right now and continues to, climb heights that you can only ever imagine. Thank you for making it the end of this episode of Takeawayz podcast. It has been amazing interacting with Mofe, and she has opened my mind to valuable takeaways that I'm sure you have been also exposed to. If this is your first time listening to Takeawayz podcast, thank you for tuning in, for listening to this episode. If this is not your first time, thanks for coming back. We have an entire library of episodes, valuable takeaways waiting for you on all our podcast platforms, so be sure to check those out. And be sure to look out for our next episode. Thank you, and have a fantastic rest of the day.